Maybe you have already started something in your life, maybe some project, you started to go into the gym, you started to learn a new song, if you play an instrument of course. You may have started learning a new language, and suddenly when you least expected it, when you least realized it, months had passed since you were no longer practicing this new language or continuing that project. But why do these things happen? I've experienced this a lot during a good part of my life. I believe that even today, I sometimes face times of this type of situation where I started a new project in my life and suddenly I have no longer any motivation to continue with that project. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. If you have this problem to start a project, I want to give you some practical things that I use and that have given me much more productivity. And I will explain why people generally giving up on continuing something. Before I start, let's think about something here. When a person is in a job and they are being paid to do that, the money they receive is their motivator. So if a person works from 9 to 5 and has a lot of work throughout the day, even though this work is often boring, this person only knows that in the end of the month they will receive that amount of money. Then the money is the motivator for that person to continue doing that work, because they know if they don't do that work they won't receive that money, so they work to be able to receive that money. And what's happened is that most of the time people start projects and sometimes on impulsive. They suddenly want to learn something new. They want to start a new project. They want to open their own business. It's just that suddenly what happens is that these people stop. Do people stop because they don't have motivators? And what are these motivators? I don't like work with positive motivators. Positive motivators in the sense of, for example, I started my own business and would be very successful in my life, and I have a lot of money to travel and etc. Yes, this type of motivators is good at time when you feel like giving up, but I particularly prefer to think about negative motivators. I don't like focusing on positive thoughts. No, I prefer to think about the bad things that could happen to me or what I will go through if I don't do what I said I was going to do. So, I'll give you an example. In my case, a real case. I left my job. I decided to leave my job because I started to start a business. I started to take another project and I started to be my boss. So I now have to command everything. So I have to have time to wake up, a time to work on my project, a time to take care of my health. I no longer depending on being arriving on time because me now that I am my boss. So if I think like this, wow, in a year I will be traveling in the world or I will have a lot of money. This is very good, but I don't think like that. I always remember what could happen to me if I don't do what I said I was going to do. For example, I think if I don't do this, if I don't meet this goal that I had set, if I don't fulfill what I had planned, everything will probably be bad. It will be probably be bad because I won't be able to close the bill at the end of the month. I won't be able to pay the bills at the end of the month. In this case, if it's a financial goal. Well then, I started to think about bad things that could happen to me if I didn't continue with this project I'm doing. So, the same thing to languages. When someone started to learn a new language, they already think, wow, something like, now I will understand movies, films, and I will understand music, and I will understand many other things in this language. But I think like this, well, what will happen? Time will pass the same way, whether I stud or not them. Time will pass the same way. So I like to think about the bad things, that is, if time passes and I haven't learned anything good in my life, probably when the opportunity comes that I could use that information or that knowledge or that skill, unfortunately I won't have it because now I wasted my time. In fact, I have wasted my time over the months and years procrastinating, and I didn't use that time to focus on something, to do something that really could have changed my life. And so the recommendation I give you is when you are on a project, when you decide to do something in your life, the first thing you have to think about is what I'm doing going to be of any benefit to me, whether it's making more money, whether it's gaining more knowledge, it doesn't matter. It has to bring some benefit to you. Some benefit that can be converted into something. I've been focusing more lately on learning things like that. Where I can maybe improve myself so that I can develop my life more, so that I can take better care of my health. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You have to think about whether what you are doing will bring you something positive that can be converted into a benefit for your life. The second thing you should think about is that if you are going to be able to maintain that rhythm every day, or at least a few times a week, you have to ask yourself if you will have free time to keep this project continuously active. So, if you have a business, you decided to open your business, you now have to take care of your business weekly. If you are learning a new language, and here on my channel, I talk a lot about learning a new language, you need to be confident in your project, because one thing I said is that it's very easy for someone to start something. It's very easy to just start. Go to the gym, start learning a new language, start open a business, etc. But most of the time, these projects are forgotten over the months and years because people simply don't continue what they were doing. These people don't continue with this project because sometimes it's very difficult. I realized that people lately don't want difficult things because difficult things require a lot of work. Learning a new language involves a lot of work. You owning your own business and leaving your job is a lot of work. So what I recommended to you is that if you decide to start something, any project, just keep going and always try to maintain the same rhythm, even if it's once a week. It doesn't matter. Always keep the same rhythm. As you will, in a matter of months or years, you will see the result, depending on what you're going to do. No matter what you're going to do, I believe that you will get some results. And I also recommend creating motivators. In my case, I always like to think about bad things that could happen to me if I don't do that project. In the case of my business, what do I think? I think that if I don't work consistently and try my best to get the result, I could go hungry and I could end up without money to pay my bills. Anyway, other things that could happen if I don't decide to focus on my project, just like a gym. People start going to the gym and then suddenly they to start giving up on the gym because these people probably wanted the results overnight. So, knowing this, what I think to stay motivated in the gym, I don't think much about my beautiful body. And again, I think about the bad things that could happen to me. That's something personal. You could think about good things. I also, of course, think about it. Yes, on good things. But usually when I'm about to give up on something that is very important to me, that I know I can't give up on, I always focus on the bad things that could happen to me if I give up everything. So basically this is what I do. I know that most people don't commit to continuing. Most people don't want to follow the path that requires work. And here's something very interesting for you. I don't know if you've noticed, but very few people in this life have had a great result in life. It's because they entered a high value level of focus on something and forgot practically everything else and focused on that for a long time, which is why they had a lot of results. So when you think about giving up, always remember the people who have already had a great result in any area of their lives, in any project, and you will have that as inspiration. Okay? In my case, the tip I gave you is to focus on bad things that could happen to you if you give up on this project or the result you want to have in the future. And I know that if you focus, you will have this result in the future. Okay? Anyway, guys, don't forget to subscribe here on my channel, comment below, and leave a like. So that's it. Get ready for the next video.